Hi, my name is Madeline, and today I'll be presenting on disposable plastic bags and their environmental impacts on the COVID-19 pandemic. This is this topic is important because it connects everyday convenience with global sustainable challenges. In this presentation, I'll explore how the pandemic changed the consumer benefit and it increased plastic waste and what lessons we can take to move forward. Okay, so what are disposable bags? They're made from polyethylene. It is a petroleum-based plastic, which is not good for the environment at all. The plastic bags are something we all use. They're convenient, lightweight, and cheap, which makes them very convenient for everybody. But they also contribute heavily to pollution that is all around the world. Before COVID-19, they contributed, they weren't as big of a contributor, but after COVID-19, it drastically increased. Many regions were already banning or limiting single-use plastics. However, when the pandemic began, consumers' behavior shifted dramatically. People relied heavily on deliveries and online shopping because it was more convenient and you weren't allowed to go outside. For this matter of COVID, it was unsafe to go outside. Okay. Disposable plastic bags become popular because they're inexpensive and easy to produce. Sometimes it takes a cent, it's a fourth of a cent to produce a single plastic bag. It's really nothing. They cause serious environmental problems, however. They clog the waterways, harm wildlife, and pile up in landfills. Some states and countries have already started banning them before 2020, recognizing the damage that they cause. This isn't a new problem, it's a constant problem, but it just grew over COVID-19. There would be a lot of online shipping, different methods of shipping, and every method was usually unsustainable for the environment. Like this, for example, many of the wildlife and waterways, all of it was being damaged simply because people were careless and there was just an overproduction of plastic waste. Stores discouraged the reusable bags simply because, they could track the virus more heavily and they wanted them to be disposed of so that so that it did not transfer a lot of bacteria from one another. As a result, the disposable plastic bag use skyrocketed, reducing any and every aspect of wildlife that was becoming anywhere near positive. Okay, next. Okay. So this slide is pretty much like the plastic pandemic. I called it this simply because COVID-19 was a pandemic in itself, but it also was a very big environmental problem. Global surge in use in single-use plastic due to PPE, food delivery, and online shopping. Online shopping, huge contributor. Over 8 million tons of pandemic-related plastic waste generated globally. It was just being produced one after another with all the shipping. Out of 100%, only 10% of it was being used and generated properly and managed properly and recycled. The healthcare industry, considering that this was a pandemic, the healthcare industry was being widely used, and about 5 million tons of plastic waste annually were produced in the United States. Plastic bags take hundreds of years to decompose, and it just, with however many people were going ill, and who knows the number, but it was just constantly reproducing new plastic bags, and then the old plastic bags would just end up in landfills. Okay. Some solutions for these would be the reusable bags. Now that we are out of the pandemic, bacteria still does transfer very quickly, but it does not transfer how it did back in COVID-19 during those years. Reusable bags would be a lot more helpful, considering they are reusable and they would not end up in a landfill as quickly as plastic bags would. The policy changes, yes, okay. So the policy changes and bans and taxes on everything, it makes it a little bit harder for online consumers to order from faraway places. It just makes the ordering process and online shopping a little bit harder if you were not in that situation to financially provide for that. Yes, reducing use. So a lot of people have become aware to the fact that plastic bags can constantly end up in our landfills and harm the environment, harm wildlife, they harm it all. And people are becoming more aware to that fact, and people are starting to take action and and make it easier and more sustainable in our everyday life to reduce the use of plastic. Okay. I said a small choice, a big impact, because any small choice, anytime you choose to not use plastic, you're saving an animal, or you are clearing up waterways, either or you are helping. And the disposable plastic bags are convenient. They are, simply because you just use them once and you throw them away. Yeah, well, they're very, very harmful. COVID-19 did accelerate the plastic waste globally. It was very known. All the online shopping and online production, it all factored through. To take action, use reusable bags, use reusable anything. That is a better alternative from using plastic. Anything is better than using plastic, because plastic will always end up in the waterways and always will harm the environment. Yeah, being mindful of the packaging when shopping online. Some places will have boxes that they use for the online shipping, but others mostly use plastic. Like 90% of people use plastic just because it's a lot easier to afford and it's a lot cheaper. But I think there are so many steps that this world can take to reduce the use of plastic. There should be bans put out on the plastic, and it should be like reusable and eco-friendly, like reduce, reuse, all of that. But yes, this is my presentation, and I appreciate you for listening. Thank you very much.